Revealed. How my daughter-in-law's shocking decision transformed our family forever. Sarah's heart raced as Jake blurted the news. Mom, I'm marrying Amelia. Those words hung heavy in the air, vibrating with promise yet tinged with confusion. Amelia, with her vibrant hair and paint-stained jeans, wasn't what Sarah had dreamed for her son. She envisioned a daughter-in-law rooted in tradition, someone who would fit snugly into the rhythms of their cozy Midwestern town. But instead, Jake had fallen for an artist, the very essence of freedom and rebellion. As details unfolded, Sarah felt her heart twist. Amelia was determined to pave her own path, choosing a life dedicated to local art, rather than the secure future she, as a nurse, had fought for. Acclaimed in their community, doctors and lawyers were the benchmarks of success, but here was this whirlwind of color that was Amelia, eschewing all that for canvas and paint. What about the bills? Sarah thought, her chest tightening with worry that felt like an unshakable weight. Every encounter with Amelia swirled up a maelstrom of mixed emotions. Sarah would stand in awe watching her bring art to life in their small town, a place so meticulously structured. Yet beneath her admiration lay an undercurrent of fear, not for Amelia, but for her family's stability. Mr. Thompson, the elderly war veteran next door, would often share stories about finding value in passion and purpose. Success isn't always a paycheck, dear, he'd tell her. Sometimes it's leaving a mark on the hearts of others. His words clung to Sarah, both a balm and a thorn. Then Amelia announced an art show, an event that could shatter the town's delicate balance of tradition. Sarah watched, anxiety bubbling beneath her surface, as folks cast disapproving glances in their direction. She could hear murmurs of disagreement, heavy with skepticism like dark clouds bellied with rain. The night of the show, Sarah stood on the fringes, uncertainty wrapping around her like a tight cocoon. Families filed in, not to celebrate but to cast judgment, to affirm their values. But then magic happened. As local artists displayed their work, the tension cracked just slightly. Paintings dripped with emotion, and sculptures whispered stories of struggle and triumph. She could see faces soften, pride blooming in the unexpected beauty of the moment. Maybe this is deeper, Sarah thought, her heart flickering like a candle in the breeze, just as she began to let go of some of that tension. But then chaos erupted. A loud voice pierced the air, launching accusations of frivolity and wastefulness at Amelia. Sarah felt the anger rippling through the crowd, like a wave crashing against rocks, and before long it turned toward her own heart. Why can't you support your son properly? Someone spat out. It was a brutal confrontation of values, a public dissection of family bonds. She could feel her chest tightening, tears pooling in her eyes as she spotted Amelia, pain and defiance etched across her face. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the art show swirled into chaos, Sarah felt the fabric of their family splintering right before her eyes. This was more than just a dispute over art. It was a question of identity and value. Could she ever bridge the chasm between her expectations and Amelia's dreams? Standing there, grappling with love, fear and pain, Sarah knew they were both at a crossroads. How exactly could their differing values coexist? Would the frayed edges of their relationship be mended or torn apart forever by the fires of conflict? The room buzzed with unease, eyes darting between Amelia and the mocking voice that had shattered the moment. Sarah could feel the weight of judgment pressing down on her. She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts amid the chaos. Maybe I should speak up, she thought, looking from Jake's anxious face to Amelia's embattled expression. Every instinct told her to defend Amelia, to protect her son from the tides of disapproval crashing around them. But fear wrapped around Sarah, constricting her throat. The comfort of tradition tugged at her like an old familiar blanket, its warmth deep-rooted yet stifling. As the accusations continued, Sarah's mind flickered back to their family dinners, the warmth of shared stories melting the frosty edges of their differences. Those evenings had been filled with laughter, respect, and the occasional gentle debate. How had it come to this? They were once a united front, the three of them, laughing over home-cooked meals, charting dreams and hopes for the future. Now it felt like they were standing on opposite shores, tossed by roaring waves. She turned her attention to Amelia, whose hands trembled ever so slightly. Her eyes, brimming with unshed tears, were a mixture of hurt and determination. This woman wasn't just Jake's fiancée. She was a fierce spirit who had painted herself into the lives of those around her. Isn't that worth something? Sarah wondered. Before she could dwell on that thought, a hard line of defiance settled on Amelia's face. I won't let them break me, she seemed to say, standing tall despite the criticism. Sarah felt an ache in her heart. She recognized the strength in Amelia's resolve. It stirred something deep within her, an echo of her own hidden dreams. Across the room, Jake stepped forward, his voice booming above the murmurs. Amelia is pouring her heart out for all of us to see. You talk about frivolity, you just don't understand. His words were staunch, filled with unyielding loyalty. Sarah felt a swell of pride for her son. He was a man now, standing for his love, willing to fight for the woman who had brought color into his life. But his boldness invited more hostility. The crowd shifted, some nodding along with Jake, others crossing their arms, faces hardened in stubbornness. You think love can pay the bills? Someone shouted. When push comes to shove, where will your passion get you? That question stung, reverberating in Sarah's chest. What was the cost of passion? And what was the measure of success? It wasn't lost on her that so many people were anchored in their fears that threatened to sink them all. With every breath, Sarah felt her resolve strengthening. No, she whispered to herself. This isn't how it ends. She stepped toward the makeshift podium, the eyes of the crowd weighing heavy on her shoulders. The moment was tense, electric, as she struggled to find her voice beneath layers of fear and love. Can we pause for a moment? She finally called out, her heart pounding. The murmurs ceased. She wanted to say the right words, something that could mend the tear in their family fabric. As silence enveloped the room, a flutter of hope bloomed within her. We are more than this confrontation. There must be room for us all. Can't we breathe for a moment? Amelia looked up, shocked but hopeful, as Jake's hand found hers, squeezing tightly. For the first time, Sarah felt the whispers of understanding ripple through the crowd. Would they begin to see? But before Sarah could continue, a sharp voice from the back interrupted, demanding an explanation. A knot twisted in Sarah's stomach. Could they ever break through the barriers keeping them apart? As that question lingered in the air, the tension swirled once more, threatening to crack open the fragile peace she had just begun to cultivate. Why should we all just sit here and listen to this nonsense? The voice cut through the air like a knife, chilling the moment Sarah had worked so hard to create. It belonged to Tessa, an aunt known for her blunt honesty, but today her words stung more than usual. Everyone turned to her, and Sarah felt the color drain from her face. This doesn't help. This really doesn't help. She could feel the heat rising in her cheeks, like a flame licking at her resolve. Tessa's unfaltering stare made it hard to think straight. Silence loomed again, thick and heavy. Amelia's dreams matter. Sarah found strength deep within her, channeling the memories of family dinners and shared laughter. We all have dreams. Why is it so hard to see that? Dreams don't pay rent, Sarah. Tessa's words were fire, igniting the rest of the family. People shifted, murmuring. Maybe this isn't about dreams alone. Someone else chimed in, surprising Sarah. It was Tom, her brother, a man usually stuck in the shadow of family expectations. What about happiness? What about the way we treat each other? Those simple words landed like a stone in a still pond, sending ripples through the crowd. Sarah could sense the shift. The gatherings of judgment started to morph into something a little more open. Yes, she thought. Maybe we can find common ground. As Tessa opened her mouth again, ready for a rebuttal, Jake stood his ground. Can't you see you're missing the point? Amelia isn't just some girl. She has fought for what she loves, and you can't deny that it's worth something. Every ounce of tension seemed to coalesce into something palpable. Sarah's heart raced as she watched them. It was as if each person in the room was teetering on the edge of acceptance and denial. But Tessa, unwilling to relent, snapped back. Love is fine, but it doesn't create stability. Does stability mean sacrificing our happiness? Amelia's voice sliced through the chatter. She had stepped in front of Jake, fierce and brave, her eyes glimmering with defiance. What's the point of waking up every day if it's a joyless routine? The air turned electric as her words echoed. Sarah held her breath, waiting for the reaction. Would her family dismiss Amelia again? Or would they finally listen? In that charged moment, a soft voice behind Tessa spoke up, echoing Amelia's sentiment. We once believed in chasing our dreams. Who says we can't do that as a family? It was a cousin Sarah hadn't seen in ages, Anna, who had taken a leap to start her own business a few years ago. Suddenly, the warmth of connection began to wrap around them, pushing back the coldness that had seeped in. One by one, stories began to tumble out. Tales of loves lost and found, passions ignited and extinguished, struggles met with determination. Laughter and tears mingled as they shared their truths, an imperfect mosaic that reflected both their failures and victories. As the tide turned, Sarah could feel the walls around her heart crumbling. There was so much love buried beneath fear and hurt. How could they have lost sight of that? Just as the collective vulnerability began to embrace the room, Tessa's voice rose again. But what happens when the dust settles? What's the backup plan? Sarah sighed, feeling the weight of the world settle back onto her shoulders. Could they navigate through this newfound hope and understanding only to be shackled by persistent doubt? As those questions loomed larger than ever, an unexpected glance from Amelia sparked something inside Sarah. There was determination there, a fire that mirrored her own. It was clear this battle wasn't about winning or losing. It was about learning to love and accept one another. And so, as eyes around the room filled with emotion and uncertainty, Sarah braced herself for what lay ahead. Would they rally to form a family united by understanding and compassion, or could their fears tear them apart again? It started to dawn on Sarah. Perhaps the answer was in the very journey they were embarking upon. The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken thoughts, as they all turned towards Tessa. Sarah held her breath, sensing that the real conversation was just beginning. The uncertainty hung in the air, electrifying but daunting. Tessa shifted, her expression, usually so unwavering, now crackling with doubt. Sarah could see her wrestle internally, the gears turning as each relative recounted their tangled hopes and fears. Yet, the blatant challenge to her practicality pushed against the tight bounds of her perspective. I worry. Tessa finally spoke, the hard edges of her voice softening just a touch. Worry is what keeps us together, makes us smart about life's challenges. Tom leaned forward, his voice steady. But does worry have to trump love, Tessa? Can't we find a way to hold both? Maybe we move forward together? Around the room, heads nodded. Yes, there were dreams, but rooted beneath them lay simple truths of support and family bonds. Sarah felt her heart swell as she realized how those truths were starting to surface. Family isn't just about stability. It's about what we build together. Anna interjected, her fiery resilience shining through. Memories of their carefree summers burst forth, reminding them all of simpler times when dreams felt limitless. I want to do something with my life that matters, Amelia chimed in again, her tone earnest and candid. And I believe my happiness could lead to something beautiful for all of us. There was a flicker of determination behind her glassy eyes. Sarah could see the flickers of understanding weaving through the family, even in Tessa's rigid stance. It wasn't about one vision, but rather gathering strength from all their dreams, a patchwork of experiences that could bolster them all. But Tessa wasn't done. And what does that look like, Amelia? How will you survive chasing these dreams? Isn't survival about love? Jacob, their father, finally spoke up, his normally quiet demeanor shifting. It's what keeps us going, isn't it? If work isn't filled with love, then what's the point? The room ignited once more with nods and murmurs of agreement. Sarah felt gratitude wash over her for Jacob's unexpected advocacy. This was the kind of support they needed, new perspectives grounded in love. Yet even among support, doubt lingered like a shadow. Tessa's voice, rising again, had an edge. It's easy to talk about love and dreams when it feels like we have a safety net, but when that net falters, what then? Sarah's heart sank. Was Tessa's relentless caution destined to reignite strife? Their family had come so far in this conversation, could it slip away with one more doubt? I could be your safety net, Amelia boldly declared, eyes sparkling defiantly. We could help one another chase dreams, support each other through everything. Could we really? Sarah couldn't help but ask. The question hung in the air, heavy yet charged with a newfound sense of possibility. The uncertainty felt real, but this path could also forge lasting bonds. Every person in the room wore a complex expression, torn between trepidation and hope. Would they be able to boldly embrace this challenge together? In that moment, Sarah picked up on the lighter undercurrents of possibility. This wasn't about dismissing fears. It was about guiding them through it and emerging stronger as a family. Tessa hesitated, her sharp gaze softened. If we were to try, it would take every one of us. Amelia nodded, her eyes filled with determination. Then let us start now. As everyone digested this new twist, a buzz of conversations erupted anew. The air was charged, dreams were taking root in the fertile ground of hope and acceptance. In the heart of all this uncertainty, something else loomed, threatening to unveil itself soon. A forgotten secret, buried beneath layers of fear and doubt. Would it emerge when they least expected it? Would it fan the flames of hope? Or was it a specter of downfall? Sarah sensed a shift. It was time for more transformations. What was that secret? And how would it change everything? The laughter started small, a ripple building into a wave, as the room moved away from the heavy conversation that had lingered like smoke. Suddenly there was a new energy among them. A shared hope pulsed in the air. It felt invigorating, almost electric. "Okay, what's first?" Anna asked, her spirit brightening the room. "If we're going to do this, let us pick a dream, just one for now, and work on it together." Tessa raised an eyebrow, skepticism still clinging to her tone. "Do we even know what we want? What if we just flounder?" Amelia's defiant determination sparked a light in Sarah's chest. "Floundering's part of it. We'll learn and grow. We'll figure it out together. I've always wanted to start a community garden." Anna jumped in, seriousness woven into her enthusiasm. "We could use the food bank and bring people together while we're at it." "That's more than just a dream," Jacob replied, the light in his eyes growing. "That could turn into something incredible for our neighborhood. And it's practical. We can grow food in each other." Tom exclaimed, the corners of his mouth lifting. "Plus, I've got really good ideas for composting. It's good for the environment." Their laughter spread like wildfire, the idea dancing above their heads. Sarah felt her heart lift. It was the joy of possibilities filling the cracks left by doubt. They were a family reaching for something brighter. But just as easily as hope blossomed, uncertainty loomed. Tessa's voice pulled them back, the caution returning. "This garden can't just be a band-aid for problems. What if we overextend ourselves? Then we adapt." Amelia shot back, her enthusiasm undeterred. "That's how life works. We'll learn what we can and keep moving forward." Tessa stared, the silence colossal. But then, like a dam giving way, her steely reserve crumbled just a bit. "Just so much can go wrong." Jacob leaned toward her, his eyes kind. "Tessa, we don't have to have all the answers today. We just need to take the first step." It was like a gentle breeze breaking through the storm. Tessa's side frustration shifted. It became thoughtful contemplation. "What if we're not good enough?" she finally admitted, the gloss of insecurity slipping through. Sarah felt that ripple of doubt surge again. She reached for Tessa's hand. "But what if we are?" In that moment something shifted. The power of community, the strength and vulnerability surged to the forefront. Then a cell phone buzz tore through the moment, shattering the brief silence. It was Amelia's phone lighting up with a message. She looked down, her expression turning from excitement to disbelief. I have to take this." As she stood, the room fell into a muted hush. Tessa's uncertainty returned, thickening the air as they watched Amelia step outside, her shoulders tense. "What if it's about the garden?" Anna whispered, a flicker of worry replacing excitement. "No," Jacob replied, the tension building in his voice. "It's got to be something else." They all exchanged glances, a collective tension binding them tighter. With Amelia outside, the lightness dwindled, replaced by the weight of what could be upheaval. And that's when Sarah felt it, the nagging sensation that perhaps they hadn't just begun a journey. Perhaps they were on the edge of something bigger, something that could change everything. As they waited, the door creaked open, and Amelia stepped back in, her expression a mixture of shock and resolve. The room hung on the cusp of her words as she took a deep breath. I have news," she said, eyes glistening with a mix of hope and fear. and it changes everything. What was it that could bring the family crashing back down? Or could it be the push they needed to rise even higher? Amelia took a moment, eyes scanning the room as if she were trying to draw strength from the familiar faces surrounding her. Sarah held her breath, the air thick with anticipation. What is it, Amelia? Tessa urged softly, her voice barely above a whisper. It was the question they all wanted to ask, the thought that loomed the largest in the air. Amelia's hands trembled slightly as she spoke. I just got off the phone with my sister. She's moving back to town. The words hung for a moment, suspended in that fragile space between hope and fear. The news seemed to pulse with its own energy, raising eyebrows and dropping jaws around the room. What does that mean for you? Jacob asked, his voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling around them. Amelia lowered her gaze, as if the weight of the world pressed heavily on her shoulders. She wants to stay with us for a while. She thinks it's time she reconnects with the family. Tom's face lit up for a fleeting second before confusion settled in. That's great, isn't it? Your sister's back and you can help her. Amelia's expression darkened. It's not that simple. Why not? Anna chimed in, genuine confusion etched on her face. Because we haven't exactly been close. Amelia's voice cracked at the edges, revealing a vulnerability that sent a hush through the room. There's a history there. Separations and misunderstandings. I guess I'm not sure if this is a good thing. Tessa frowned, her concern palpable. You have enough going on with the garden and everything. You really want to add this to your plate? A flicker of anger ignited in Amelia's eyes. It's not just about what I want. She snapped back, the emotion spilling out. This is my family. It's complicated, she's facing her own struggles. I can't just turn her away. Silence fell again, thick and heavy. Sarah could feel her heart pounding with empathy for Amelia. Family was such a delicate balance, a web that can easily tangle. What if we tried to help her? Sarah suggested carefully, desperate to shift the mood. Maybe if we make room for her, it could be the start of something new. She could even help with the garden. Amelia's brow creased, the idea hanging in the air like a balloon that's lost its tether. You don't know what you're asking. It's not as easy as that. There's a lot of pain there. Isn't that exactly what our garden is about? Jacob asked, leaning forward. Healing and community? Bringing people together? Amelia seemed to contemplate this, her fingers nervously gripping the edge of the table. But what if it turns into more chaos? We barely manage as it is. Maybe chaos leads to growth, Sarah replied, a warmth igniting in her chest. Every plant needs sunlight and water, even if that means going through storms. A flicker of uncertainty crossed over Amelia's face, but it was mixed with something else, something like hope. What are you suggesting? She finally asked, her voice steady as she looked around the room. We all stand by you, Tom said, his determination lifting the heaviness. We're in this together, whatever it takes. Amelia glanced at each of them, the comfort of their solidarity washing over her, yet a shadow of doubt remained. Hey, I'll talk to her. But I can't promise it'll be easy, she stated, the weight of her decision hanging like a delicate thread. Just take the first step, Jacob encouraged softly, mirroring his earlier sentiment as she nodded. A ripple of agreement spread through the group. Soon they would be tackling not just a garden, but the tangled roots of family history. Just then the door swung open, and Amelia's sister stood there, silhouetted against the fading light. Confusion crossed Amelia's face, a storm of emotions roiling beneath the surface. Looks like it's time for a real conversation, Sarah thought, a shiver racing down her spine. The moment of truth was here. Would it bring them closer or draw them apart? Amelia's breath caught in her throat as she stared at her sister Liz framed by the door. It felt surreal, like staring at a character from a long-lost chapter of her life. Liz's hair, bright against the dusk, was unmistakably the same, still a fiery red that glinted with mischief and warmth. But there were shadows in her eyes that Amelia hadn't seen before. With every step Liz took into the room, a mixture of dread and hope pulsed through Amelia. Amelia, Liz said softly, her voice tremulous yet determined. Liz, Amelia replied, her own voice barely above a whisper. The room felt small. The space between them stretched, filled with unspoken words and years of silence. Can we talk? Liz's eyes darted around the room, landing on the gathered friends. They were a reminder of the support Amelia had built over time, a community that thrived on connection. Yeah. Sure, Amelia managed. Maybe we should let us go outside, Liz interrupted, glancing toward the garden that had become a sanctuary for Amelia. The rustling leaves and blooming flowers felt like the right backdrop for what lay ahead. As they stepped into the cool evening air, a silence settled thick and heavy, cradling their unvoiced past. Amelia led Liz to a dark wooden bench among the growing plants. A part of her felt like she was back in the moment they last said goodbye, the same anxiety swelling in her chest. Here we are, Amelia finally said, her voice steadying. You've come back. I have. Liz's eyes shimmered with an emotion Amelia couldn't quite read. Fear? Regret? I didn't just come back to town, Amelia. I need help. I've been struggling. Amelia's heart raced. This was the crux of their reunion. What kind of help? What's going on? A sudden breeze swept through the garden, carrying the scent of blossoming lilacs. Liz blinked hard, gathering courage as she replied, I've been dealing with a lot of things since I left. I didn't want to admit it, but I went through a rough patch. Addiction. Mental health issues. It's been a tough battle. Amelia's breath hitched. The words landed like stones. The girl who used to steal her clothes and doodle in schoolbooks was facing a reality she had never wanted to acknowledge. Have you gone to rehab? Amelia asked, each word heavy with concern. Liz nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. I finished a program, but it's still hard. It's overwhelming. I thought coming home might help me reconnect with you, with Mom and Dad. But I didn't know how muffled gasps echoed from the house. Her friends could sense the tension outside. Amelia took a deep breath, feeling the friendship from inside, like warmth in the cold night. I get it, Liz. You were always my sister. We've been through our moments, Amelia said, trying to ground her words. I can't promise it'll be easy, but I don't want you to feel alone. We can try to work through this together. Liz offered a fragile smile, a hint of relief flickering in her eyes. I really want to fix things between us. I miss you. Let us take it one day at a time, Amelia replied, a smile breaking across her own face. Hope blossomed through the cracks of uncertainty. We have this garden for growth. Maybe we can grow together. As Liz nodded, the stars began to twinkle above them, glimmers of beauty piercing through the darkness. It was a fragile beginning, but the weight of change hung in the air, electrifying and promising. Just then a loud crack echoed, and a branch snapped underfoot, startling both sisters. They turned to find Jacob gazing at them from the shadows, his expression a mix of concern and curiosity. Everything okay? He asked, stepping forward, ready to step in if need be. Amelia glanced at Liz, where the flicker of vulnerability remained, but alongside it was the spark of something new. We're figuring it out, she said, not fully aware of what the future held, but feeling the swell of hope daring to rise. Together? Liz whispered. Together, Amelia affirmed, feeling the power of unity wash over her. But deep down, a question loomed: what would tomorrow really bring? The breeze picked up, swirling around them, and for a moment, everything outside the garden faded into a distant hum. Liz seemed to draw strength from the night sky, the stars blinking in a reassuring rhythm above. Amelia felt that old bond flicker to life, but it was strained, still fragile from the years apart. Let us sit down, Jacob suggested gently, sensing the moment's weight. The three settled onto the bench, Liz between the two. It felt oddly comforting to Amelia, even as a knot formed in her stomach. Liz, do you have a plan? Jacob inquired, his tone serious yet compassionate. How can we help? Liz shook her head slowly, her fiery hair shimmering in the dim light. I'm not sure yet. I want to talk to Mom and Dad. I want them to understand, I just don't know how to approach it. Amelia could see that the prospects were daunting for Liz. She wanted to dive in, to wrap her sister in an embrace, but the words hung in the air like a storm cloud. They've missed you, Liz. It's been hard on all of us. Jacob nodded, offering Liz encouragement. You already took a big step coming back. Facing them is another leap, but they love you. They can help you through this. A flicker of fear crossed Liz's face. What if they're angry? What if they can't forgive? Her voice trembled, vulnerability pouring out. Amelia reached out, putting a hand on Liz's knee. It's okay to be scared, but it's scarier to stay away. You're stronger than you think. You fought hard already, Jacob added, a genuine smile breaking the tension. You can do this. You won TB alone. Liz took a breath, and the tightness in her features softened slightly. You both are right. I just can't shake off the feeling of guilt. What if I let them down again? The word stung Amelia. Liz had always struggled with self-worth, and hearing her sister voice those fears made Amelia's heart ache. You are not a failure, Liz. Everyone makes mistakes. Life isn't about never falling, it's about getting back up. We'll help you. Will you really? Liz's gaze searched both their faces. There was that flicker of hope again, tentative and unsteady. Of course, Jacob said firmly, that's what family is for. The encouragement enveloped Liz, and the glow of hope seemed to pulse brighter. Yet doubt still swirled like smoke around her. I don't want to hurt you both again, Liz confessed, her voice dropping to a whisper. Amelia's heart raced. She had fought hard to build her own life, and she didn't want to see it crumble over past mistakes. It's okay to lean on us, Liz. Just be honest. That's all we need from you. Liz opened her mouth to speak but hesitated, anxiety creeping back into her features. Jacob shifted slightly, breaking that heavy moment. How about we go inside? Let us talk about this over coffee. Much better than sitting out here in the dark, right? Reluctantly, they stood, and as they started moving back to the house, Liz lingered behind just a moment longer. Amelia turned to her sister, feeling the weight of the moment. You can do this, Liz. One step at a time. We've got your back. Liz reached for Amelia's hand, squeezing it tightly. Thank you for not giving up on me. As they stepped inside, the warmth of the house enveloped them, contrasting sharply with the chill outside. Laughter and chatter echoed, and for a brief moment, everything felt perfect. But just as Amelia stepped into the familiar embrace of her friends, she felt a pang of anxiety fill her gut. Would the joy and laughter welcome Liz, or would it bring back memories too painful to bear? A voice interrupted her thoughts. Hey, is everything all right? It was Sarah, one of their closest friends, looking concerned. Amelia opened her mouth to respond but found herself frozen. She glanced back at Liz, who wore a look of determination, and then at Jacob, who nodded reassuringly. Yeah, Amelia finally said, her voice strong. Everything's going to be okay. But as she smiled, a nagging question loomed in her mind. Was it really enough to mend the past? Or were they standing on the precipice of something even more challenging? The kitchen was alive with laughter and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Amelia could feel the warmth of the people surrounding her, but her gaze kept flickering back to Liz. She was standing just inside the doorway, her eyes darting nervously between the lively group and the safety of the hallway. Come on, Liz, Jacob urged softly, stepping back to give her more room. You're part of this too. As if pulled by an invisible string, Liz took a tentative step forward, but then hesitated again. Amelia's heart ached for her sister as she watched the internal struggle play out on Liz's face. She wanted to reassure her but knew the words would need to come from Liz herself. Hey, I know what will help, Sarah proclaimed, her cheerful voice cutting through the chatter. Let us play that game we all love. Amelia caught sight of Liz's eyes brightening slightly at the possibility, but it quickly dimmed, shadowed by the weight of their past. Maybe later? Liz's voice was almost a whisper, thin as the air in the room. Liz, why don't you join us? Sarah invited, unbothered by Liz's reluctance. It'll be fun, I promise. Liz glanced at Amelia, a question in her eyes. Should she try? Amelia felt that familiar knot tighten in her stomach again. This was their moment to rewrite the narrative, to stitch together wounds that had festered for years. Just take a deep breath, Amelia encouraged, squeezing Liz's hand. You'll find your place again. After a long pause, Liz took a step forward and smiled weakly. All right, I'll try. As the friends gathered around for the game, laughter ricocheted off the walls. For a fleeting moment it felt like old times, the way they were when Liz had still been part of everything. But as they played, Amelia observed how Liz sat back, hesitating to fully engage. During a particularly hilarious round, Liz's smile faltered, and her cheeks flushed with embarrassment when the topic turned toward missed moments and inside jokes from the past. Hey, remember that time we all got stuck in the rain? Jacob asked, recalling an old misadventure. Amelia felt a knot twist inside her. Liz had been the glue of that moment. Yeah, we ended up soaked and had to change in the bathroom, one friend chimed in. The laughter continued around the table, but Amelia noticed Liz's face paling, her grip tightening on her coffee cup. It was as if the laughter bubbled just out of reach, a reminder of how much she had missed, how much she had lost. Maybe a new memory? Amelia blurted, her voice almost desperate. We could all plan a weekend getaway or something fun. Liz looked over, surprised by the sudden attention. The room quieted, and every pair of eyes turned to her expectantly. That's an idea, Liz replied, a hint of warmth creeping into her tone. But then her confidence wavered again, insecurity trailing closely behind. I don't know if I've missed out on so much. Just be real with us, Jacob said gently. You don't have to feel pressured. We just want you back, whatever that looks like. Something in Liz shifted. She seemed to take a breath as if she were finally letting go of the heaviness. Amelia could see the flickers of her sister re-emerging. Okay, Liz said, her voice steadier now. I'll try to be more present. The room erupted in encouragement, laughter returning to fill the gaps. But for Amelia, the moment felt like it was balanced on a blade's edge. Just when it seemed like they were all moving in the right direction, Sarah's phone chimed with an incoming message. She glanced down, her expression turning serious. Oh, it's from your parents, Liz. The moment froze. Every pair of eyes turned back toward Liz, and a silence seeped into the air, thick and full of unspoken questions. What do they want? Amelia whispered, her breath catching in her throat. Liz swallowed, uncertainty clouding her features once more. I don't know. As she reached for the phone, Amelia felt the ground shift beneath them. Could this be the breakthrough they'd been hoping for? Or would it tear them apart again? With bated breath, they awaited Liz's response, each heartbeat echoing louder in the haunted silence. What awaited them in that single message could change everything. Amelia stood with her heart hammering. The air felt heavy as Liz stared at the phone, her thumb hovering over the screen. Silence had a way of amplifying everything. The rhythm of her family's breaths catching in their throats. Tension coiled tight, binding them as anticipation tightened its grip. Then Liz's expression shifted. Something flickered. Was it fear or resolve? They want to meet, Liz finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Gasps echoed in the kitchen. When? Jacob asked, stepping forward, his protective instincts roaring to the surface. Tomorrow, Liz replied, her eyes clouded with uncertainty, worrying lines etching deeper into her brows. The room buzzed alive with reactions, some encouraging, others apprehensive. You can do this, Liz. Amelia urged, warmth flooding her voice, desperate to sustain the flickering flame of hope that had sparked between them. But what if they're still angry? Liz's eyes shimmered with doubt, the very essence of fear that comes from betrayal and broken trust. What if they can't accept me? What if I can't even face them? Amelia reached out, grasping Liz's hand tightly, as if pouring all her strength into that single connection. They've missed you. They want to understand. They love you, Liz. But what if they don't? Liz's voice trembled, her defenses already rising against the tide of past pain like a dam built against crashing waves. I'll be there with you, Jacob chimed in softly. We all will. This is family, Liz. Remember? Their hearts were now intertwined in this heavy moment. The past loomed like a shadow, but each word uttered now forced a chink into that wall. Amelia felt hope breaking through. Remember the times we've had together? All the love we shared? Focus on that. Her words sparked something in Liz. The uncertainty still flickered, but its edges seemed softer now, a reminder of sunny days. Okay, Liz said, finding her voice as it steadied. I'll do it. For me, for us. That was the turning point. The warmth of belonging enveloped Liz, lifting the weight and allowing a glimpse of possibility to blanket her fears. The room echoed with encouragement. It was a patchwork of love expressing itself. It emboldened Liz, illuminating paths of healing as the conversations flowed. Laughter soon filled the gaps where trepidation resided. Liz even dared to smile, small but radiant, like sunlight breaking through clouds. They shared stories of overcoming obstacles, and the vibrancy in their voices transformed doubt into something more fellowship. But a thought flickered in Amelia's mind. We're missing something, she finally said, realization hitting her. We can't just recover from this, let us celebrate how far we've come together. The room erupted in excitement. Plans were being made. Laughter fractured the previous tension as they discussed painting the community garden together. How about a mural that tells our story? Anna suggested, her voice bright and alive with creativity. That's perfect. Tom chimed in. It'll show how we battled through, united. The air surged with excitement, hope buzzing like static electricity. Ideas flew, colors bloomed, and a sense of renewal gradually took shape. It was the antidote to the years of separation, an infusion of vitality as they continued to joke and plan. Amelia could see Liz finally slipping into familiarity and comfort. But there remained a tension, a weight of what was yet to come. Tomorrow would bring challenges, vulnerabilities laid bare. But it no longer felt insurmountable. They had forged a path lit by love and friendship. Every day will be a chance to rebuild, Amelia concluded, smiling at Liz, who now looked like the sister she had always known but had lost for so long. Underneath the flickering lights of their laughter, they hadn't just grown a garden. They were cultivating a vibrant tapestry of resilience and connection. No, they weren't perfect. There would be days of struggle that still lay ahead. But if they learned to embrace those moments together, learning and growing through their shared vulnerabilities, maybe they would create something beautiful, something the world would see. Whatever happens tomorrow, Amelia said, squeezing Liz's hand, we're in this together. Always. Liz smiled back with a glimmer of bravery now shining in her eyes. Together, she echoed. A promise hanging in the air, tangible and real. And as the night flowed onward, they relaxed into the warmth of their beginnings as a family, ready to embrace whatever came next. This was their moment, a turning point where love erased boundaries, and the road ahead sparkled with possibilities. Now you need to subscribe immediately to this channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you and connect you with your own journey. Leave a like now to keep the algorithm alive. Your support means the world. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. It helps us connect and grow as a community. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show them this journey. Be part of something meaningful. Your support turns dreams into reality.